Nerds, coming up on this week's episode, we offer you a 2-for-1 deal. Yes, 2 reviews of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. First of all, we offer you an instant review, which we recorded literally in the parking lot of the theater right after we saw the film. So you get our instant reactions, spoiler-free. We did our best not to ruin anything for you, unless you just went totally dark and didn't even see the trailers. There might be a couple things in there, but we did our best to not reveal anything that wasn't in the trailers and gave you our general thoughts and reactions to the film. That lasts about 20 minutes, so if you include ads and breaks and stuff, right at about the 22-minute mark, we jump into the deep dive, and fair warning, we will spoil the heck out of the film after that, and we will also spoil the series Loki, in particular the final episode 6. So if you haven't seen Loki or haven't finished it, and if you haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, you might want to wait to listen to the second segment or the second review of the film. But you get a 2-for-1 deal. 2 reviews in 1 episode, recorded 4 days apart, or 5 days, something like that, several days apart. Anyway, it's coming up right after this. I'm Richard.
And I'm Will.
And together we're
The Irreverent Nerds. Bum, bum, bum.
Nerds. We are here outside of the Marketplace Cinema here in Winston-Salem. Well, you and I have seen quite a few movies here over the years. This used to be known as the $2.50 Cinema. Like, literally the tickets were $2.50. And that was back when they would buy films like in the canisters, in the physical film back then. So they would buy it after other theaters had used it. And so it would be a month or 2 after a movie had come out. And then you could come and see it for like $2, I think it was $2.50 for the longest time. But the new management, they've upgraded the theater over the years. And now you can see current movies when they come out, best prices in town.
Oh yeah, still a lot better.
Yeah,
even if it's not $2.50.
Yeah, so
and the
concessions,
food is good.
The concessions are the cheapest in town too, and they have alcohol. So hey, plug for Marketplace Cinema. Come check it out if you live here in Winston. You get that for free, Marketplace, if you happen to be watching this. Hopefully you don't mind us mentioning it. Anyway, we just saw the movie, so this is our instant review, and
instantaneous.
Yeah, like the lights are so good out here that we're able to record outside at night. It's pretty cool.
Jinx, and then they shut them off.
Yeah, they might turn them off while we're at it. We'll see.
No, when's the last show time?
I think 7. So yeah,
okay,
that might happen. But if it does, we'll just record in the dark. So make it fun.
And then get mugged.
So let's see. So we're gonna try to make this instant review as spoiler-free as possible, and then tomorrow.
That guy was in it. Are kidding?
Huh? Oh yeah. Tomorrow we're gonna do a more in-depth review and connect it to some of the other things in the Marvel universe, etc. So first reactions. So out of 5 nerd hats, Will, your initial reaction, how many nerd hats would you give it?
Well, whenever I get out of a movie, I'm usually too excited and give something too high of a rating. So I want to say 5, but maybe that's too high. I will say this, though. I enjoyed this movie and thought it was much better than experience than several of the past Marvel movies I've seen. Love and Thunder being one of the movies that I think this movie trumps, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I would rate it higher than Love and Thunder as well. And I think we were maybe a little unfair to Thor: Love and Thunder. Like when we first saw it, our instant review, we gave it 2.5, I think.
Yeah, well, which is
a little low. I don't know. The second time I watched it, I was like, you know what? This is a little better than that.
It was not meant to be your typical Marvel fare. Quantumania was your typical Marvel fare, but Love and Thunder was a completely different beast.
It was supposed to be a comedy, I think, and kind of like like Ragnarok
it threw me off the first time I watched it, and the second time I was like, this grew on me, and I liked it better. But so for this film, I think we'll give it 4 nerd hats out of 5. I think that's a good solid review. I think that's one that'll hold up even after time, but my instant thought, I'd say 4 nerd hats out of 5. How about you?
Yeah, that sounds fair. We need to get actual nerd hats and then stack them.
Yeah. or I can put in a graphic or something where it's like 4 nerd hats. So
if you want to work for free in order to do graphics and animations, contact us.
That's right. So 4 out of 5. So let's think about categories. Visual effects. How would you read the visual effects?
It was really good. Because we saw a lot of things that is typically not seen in most movies.
Yeah, they got really creative, which, it's the quantum realm, which who knows what that looks like. So, they're pretty wide open in what they can experiment with. Most of the creatures were still, humanoid, I guess, like more or less, or somewhat of a copy of something in this realm, which I guess is supposed to be part of the
slug horses.
The idea, right? We didn't see any tardigrades though. Like, where were the tardigrades?
I was just thinking of that.
Maybe that's in a different part of the. Maybe it's like
tardigrades are too big.
Yeah, maybe they're they must be outside of the void, because they had to go through the void to get here, or to be more precise, they got pulled through the void. So, but yeah, excellent visual effects, right? Like, and there was like literally like hundreds and hundreds of people involved in making the visual effects. Like, I imagine they probably filmed the majority of it on green screen. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm sure that there were some physical sets, but I'm sure you had green screens behind them and running on green carpet and green screen. It's a lot of CGI.
Lots of CGI.
Yes.
I lived in the green.
Yeah. No, imagine that. I wonder if it has to get a little boring as an actor. Like, if you're like, I'm sure again there's some physical sets, but maybe not. Maybe that's part of being an actor. You just have a really good imagination.
Voice actors.
Like chasing a guy with a ball on his head or something, or so this takes the cake. So apparently one of Tom Holland and Zendaya's kisses in the Spider-Man film, Zendaya couldn't be there for one of them, so there's this picture that was circulating. He had to kiss some, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, I'm assuming it was a woman, had to kiss a woman who was in a green suit.
What?
So he's like kissing a green suit, and they digitally replaced that with Zendaya later.
That is weird.
I was like, nah, man, you can't do that. Like,
and overly expensive.
It just
too much work.
Yeah.
Zendaya, get here right now.
So anyway, this is definitely kind of film that you want to go to see on the big screen. It's like a CGI fest. But it's well done CGI. It's not
like Superman's mustache.
Superman's mustache.
Sir, that's a Justice League joke. Henry Cavill's mustache. Never mind.
I don't get it. Okay.
He doesn't get it.
You can tell me later.
I demand the Snyder mustache. Okay. Moving
Snyder
on.
stash. Okay, so yeah, visual effects really good. Acting, the acting is solid. I love Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is fun, and he can do both pathos and comedy and drama. The dude's talented, and he makes it seem easy. Like, you know what I mean? He's just very relaxed in his roles, but yeah, he's talented.
He is, and now that he's done 3 Ant-Mans, maybe he'll be freed up from Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
Do they have a sequel plan for that yet?
Yeah, it's already started filming.
Nice.
In London, I think.
Doesn't he he plays a teacher, I think, doesn't he? In the
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a high school teacher that gets sucked into the. Yeah, I need to rewatch that. I've got it on Blu-ray now.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Good movie, by the way. We'll review it one of these days. One of our retro reviews, I guess. So he did a really good job. Obviously, Evangeline Lilly, she's great. I've loved her in almost everything she's in. Back since I first saw her in Lost. She was one of the big characters. Did you watch Lost back?
I was lost by Lost.
You were lost by Lost.
Very lost.
So she did a good job. Obviously, Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer, veterans of the industry. Michelle Pfeiffer has a very prominent role in this film, more so than Michael Douglas. I think she has more lines and is featured, I think, a little more in this film.
I think so.
I thought she was great.
Based on the plot, it was the best decision.
Yeah, definitely better than her role as Catwoman. But then that was like 30 years ago.
She was Catwoman?
She played Catwoman.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I didn't realize that was the same person.
Batman Returns. But again, 30 years ago, so she's had time to grow and mature.
Yeah. Well, I didn't connect the dots and realize that I've been watching Catwoman and Ant-Man, so I guess you and I are even now that you don't know the mustache.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, one of these days we should do a retro review of Batman Returns.
Ooh, that would be good.
Yeah. I've not watched it in a long time.
I remember it as being my personal favorite of the two Michael Keaton Batmans.
Yeah, I think it was better than the first. I'm not a huge fan of either one of them, but then I kind of got spoiled. I actually saw them after I saw at least the first. I think at least Batman Begins. I saw that before I saw either of those, which a lot of people be like, but so I kind of got spoiled a little bit. But yeah, I need to revisit them. I have revisited the original Batman, but I haven't. Anyway, we're off topic.
Very off topic.
So yeah, Michelle
Welcome to our
Pfeiffer,
world.
Catwoman is in this film pretty prominently, and obviously, everybody knows this from the trailers, but you have Kang the Conqueror is in this film. Now, I have read some of the comics. I don't know. Have you read any of the Kang comics?
No, I have not.
I've read a few. I'm trying to remember.
Spoiler alert! If you didn't know it, Kang's in this film.
Yeah, he's in the trailers. I think. Anybody who's been following the MCU should know by now that, before even seeing the film,
We're up
that's
to our
who,
neck in Kang's.
Yeah, that's who's in there. Obviously, so I was rewatching some. In preparation for this, I rewatched the second Ant-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Endgame. This doesn't really connect to Endgame at all. Not really.
You just wanted to watch Endgame.
Yeah. Well, the quantum realm, it really just served as a vehicle for time travel in Endgame. So they didn't really explore much about it in Endgame. But obviously, Ant-Man and the Wasp is much more relevant, and Loki would be the other series I think that is very relevant to this, because you get introduced to one of the Kangs towards the end of that.
He Who Remains.
Yeah. So if you haven't, if you happen to watch or listen to this before you see the Ant-Man and the Wasp, I recommend rewatching it, or watching, if you haven't seen it yet, the series Loki on Disney Plus before seeing this, because they will connect.
Well, they will.
So I don't think that's a spoiler necessarily, especially for anybody that's seen Loki, and then you see the trailer, you're like, oh, it's that dude from wait, he looks just like the dude from Loki. But and I don't think this is a spoiler. He's a variant from another time. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Get used to that word variant.
Yeah,
It's gonna come up.
It does. Obviously, it pops up a lot in Loki, in the series Loki, and
Especially.
It does. They didn't do too much on this one, but
No, not this one. But I feel like the MCU is heading in that direction.
It does pop up. But yeah, so let's see. So we talked about the acting, we talked about the visual effects. The music was solid. It's done by the same guy that did the music for the Frozen, actually. Frozen 1 and 2.
Cool.
Christoph Beck. And I think I want to say he's done a couple of MCU films as well. But yeah, I think that was really good. And so let's see. What else? Well, directing. Like, I feel like sometimes there's two forms of directing I feel that are really good. There's the one where you don't even notice the directing. You know, I feel like that's pretty solid. But then there's others where you can tell, like, he's got his fingerprints. He or she has their fingerprints all over it, and they're just an auteur of the art form. This falls more into the first category. I feel like it's done really well. Like, you don't notice it, like, because if it's really badly directed, then you know. You're like, oh, what were they thinking? But if you don't notice it at all, that's often a sign that it's been directed really well.
Right.
Especially if the actors are shining and doing a really good job. So I feel like this falls into that category where it's directed well and like such that you're just sucked into the story. You don't really even think about who's directing it or what their choices are in general. You know, I felt that way. I don't know. What do you think?
I saw someone walking behind us in the background, and I zoned out for a while.
He missed the last 2 minutes of what I said. So.
Yeah, just ask my wife. It happens all the time.
It happens to me too. You can ask my wife; she knows.
I have no idea what you just said, Richard. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I was talking about the directing.
And then I started thinking about our shirts. Oh, we're both wearing space shirts.
Yeah, like I'm wearing Chateau Picard.
My mind was everywhere except where it needed to be.
Yeah, this is we're recording this on Thursday the 16th, and the instant review anyway. And any of you who love Star Trek probably know that Picard Season 3, Episode 1 came out today, which I plan to watch no later than tomorrow. Well, actually, no. We might watch it together because next Thursday we're recording an episode for, the first week of March is going to be released. We're going to review the first 2 episodes of Picard Season 3. So, preview. So, stay tuned for that. That's going to be the first Wednesday in March. That episode will drop. But this episode will drop this coming Wednesday. So, yeah. So, this... pretty much wrapping up our instant review. So we both gave it 4 nerd hats out of 5.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Reactions. Yeah, I don't think I'll change that, like, even given time. Like, I have had a few films where I've either rated too low or too high right after seeing them. It's had, like, a strong reaction. Yeah. And then he gave it some thought later, and I'm like, you know what? I wasn't fair, or I was too nice.
Like when I got out of Amazing Spider-Man 2, and you asked me what I thought. I was like, this is the best Spider-Man I've ever seen. And you were like, Will, are you crazy? This was terrible.
Oh, man. Electro. That's all I got to say about that. Electro. Although I really like what they did with his character when he came back in the newest Spider-Man movie. So much better. Jamie Foxx would probably agree. He was terrible. It's not even necessarily Jamie Foxx's fault.
I'm just sad we didn't get to see more Rhino.
Oh, yeah. Paul Giamatti. I wonder how much he got paid for that little cameo. Like, it was probably fun. He probably had fun with it.
Yeah. Well...
poor use of his talents, though, I have to say.
I'm always on a high when I get out of a movie, so my ratings aren't very trustworthy.
I think I do recommend, though, like... Watch this without any drugs in your system the first time, but then go and rewatch it. Like,
90s child, don't do some
shrooms or something. Like, especially if you live in California, go get some weed.
If you're a plumber, Mario.
And it'll probably be legal in North Carolina before too long, but it'll be you'll have probably more fun the second time. You might not remember much, but
or just
it
buy
will be
some alcohol
a trip.
at the concession stand.
I will say, though, if you have epilepsy, don't see this movie.
Don't see this movie.
Don't see this movie if you have epilepsy. No, don't do it. It'll probably trigger a seizure.
We should have an entire podcast separate from this one, just called "Don't See This Movie."
That's actually a good idea for a podcast.
Where we just watch movies that no one else wants to see that are terrible until we just can't stand it. And the final podcast is us on a bridge.
Oh no, that got really dark.
No, dark comedy.
That's actually a good idea for a podcast. Maybe we should totally do that. It's like, don't see this movie. There are a few other podcasts that do something similar to that out there, but we could do our own spin on it, like pick movies that no one else has picked yet.
Yep.
I have an idea for one.
I joke.
Spaced Invaders. Did you ever see that back in the 90s? Spaced. Might even be late 80s film. Spaced Invaders.
No, but it rings a bell.
Had these tiny little green men. Had the girl from Jurassic Park, I believe, was in it. That was her first film.
Really?
Lex.
Yeah.
Lex, but she was a little younger, so this must have been like late 80s. It was a movie from my childhood. But yeah, it's
his childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't see it, obviously. But, so anyway, this is our instant review. But if you're listening to this obviously, if you're listening to this in podcast land, following it is going to be a more in-depth review that we're going to record probably either tomorrow or Saturday. And but you'll be able to hear both, So yeah.
I can't wait to talk about that one guy who's in this film that I can't talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think doesn't he pop up in a trailer? I feel like I saw him in a trailer, so it didn't surprise me. I'm pretty sure he was in a trailer. Because when I saw him, oh, okay. When I saw him,
all of them.
It didn't surprise me. Okay. So, but
I was surprised when they mentioned his name.
If you haven't seen any trailers, you will be surprised. There's a cameo in the film.
That too. Who are we talking about?
It's Ghostbusters related, just so you know.
I was talking about the other guy.
The other guy.
I knew that
you knew
Ghostbusters related guy was in this.
Oh, okay, so you knew that Bill Murray was going to be in it.
Yeah.
He's in the trailer.
Yeah.
So there's another guy.
Well, I didn't see that particular trailer, but I knew Bill Murray was on set filming, so it was just waiting to see who he was playing as. Yeah.
So he plays a human-like character.
A humanoid.
Yeah.
Man.
They don't really explain that, why there's like some people that look like humans down there in the quantum realm that were apparently, I don't know if they're born or what, how that works in the quantum realm. They didn't explain any of that. Maybe they'll do that in some other series or film or something.
Or not. Seems like a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
A lot of backstory.
More things to mine for the next 20 years of the MCU. Anyway, we both need to get out of here and get to bed, so that concludes our instant review. So after this break and these messages, our more in-depth review. So stay tuned. Hey nerds, Richard here, asking you to consider supporting this podcast. If you go to our website, anchor.fm/irreverent nerd, right there on the top of the page is a support button. Click on that, and then you can select the level at which you would like to support us. You can do 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or even $9.99 a month. And as I've said before, if you agree to do $9.99 a month, we'll come to your house and give you a hug and a kiss. No, not really. Just kidding. But you will definitely receive our gratitude. So, take a minute today to go on there and let us know that you love us. Because, we're desperate for that. So, just let us know. Thanks, nerds. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Nerds! We're back.
Back again. Yes, my friend.
5 days later? 5 days later. Yeah, 5 days later. So we recorded our instant review last Thursday, immediately after seeing the film. And we're back Tuesday night. Because our schedules have been kind of whack, and sickness has been going through my house, so we're recording it on the night before we release, because that's just how things came out. So this is our deep dive, and it will be spoiler filled. So know that, nerds. We're going to be talking free and open about the film. We're not going to be worried about spoiling anything for you. So if you don't want to be spoiled and you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and turn off the episode. Come back to the rest of it later.
The spoiler cup runneth over.
Alright, so in the interim, I was able to finish
watching Loki. Will had to work. I mean, because money.
Money. I have to work for money.
So he
Quote,
he did not finish it, but you have seen it, so like you probably have a decent memory of how it ends. A few of the smaller details I had forgotten, but the basic points of the plot I remembered from the first time I watched Loki all the way through. And as I mentioned in the instant review we did, Loki definitely ties in significant ways with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Obviously, the cutscene at the end, by the way, spoilers, again, spoilers. The cutscene at the end, we're jumping right to the end, actually shows Loki and Mobius, who have gone to, I guess, the 19th century, and found a version of He Who Remains, I'm guessing, at this point. After rewatching Loki, I'm guessing it might be He Who Remains, but I'm not sure.
I'm just for sake of my brain not exploding, I'm going to say he's a variant of Nathaniel Richards, but it's not confirmed that this is the actual true name of the character in the MCU yet. This is just his true name in the comics.
Of course, in that case, he'd strangely be a ancestor of?
Descendant.
But he lived living in the 19th century, so he went back in time.
Yes, he time traveled back in time to the 19th century. This also happens in the comics.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's right, because
he changes his name every time he takes on a new persona.
That makes sense. Is at the end, like the final episode of Loki, where Loki and Sylvie, which is just another version of Loki. By the way, for any of you who haven't seen the series, there'll be spoilers for that too, so if you haven't seen Loki yet, don't listen to this either.
I have questions about that. I know that we're not here to talk about Loki.
Yeah, we are. We're here to talk about how it ties in to Ant-Man Quantumania, so as long as it's relevant.
It's not relevant. I just can't figure out if Sylvie is Loki born as a girl or Loki who decided to transgender to a girl. Using magic.
I'm pretty sure she was born
born
female. I think that's the idea. And the implication is that was her only crime against the timeline. That, although why they didn't just take her when she was a baby, I'm not sure.
Yes, this is my point.
She does actually. It's in the final episode of the episode, like the penultimate episode. She asks Judge Reinhold, the head of the TVA, or at least the head human there at the well, I guess technically not, because He Who Remains
the known head
is human, but at this point, like episode 5, at that point you don't know who the final person is. But Sylvie asks her if she remembers why Sylvie got pruned, and we don't know for sure whether the judge was lying or not, but she said she didn't remember. So we don't know for sure how Sylvie deviated from her timeline. But it's kind of left open for you to guess, like whether it might be just simply because she was a female variant of Loki, which that would suck. But again, why wouldn't they have taken her as a baby? So it's probably something else.
Like just didn't notice until she got older.
Played with the wrong toy one day or something.
Yeah. This baby is not a boy.
Unlike the Loki, the young, like he's like 12 or 13, who they find in the void at the end. His deviation was killing his brother Thor at like age 12.
Yeah.
I don't know if Thor was 12 at the time. Is that something I don't know? Because I know Thor and Loki kind of grew up together, but then the question is, okay, we're getting off topic, which we are wont to do.
I just want to know whether or not Frog Thor and Loki Alligator were from the same timeline, and if they were brothers.
Oh, and there is like you see him very briefly. There's a tiny Thor stuck in a jar in the void, like buried under the ground in the void.
Isn't that Frog Thor, or is that just a tiny Thor?
He's just a tiny Thor.
Oh, okay.
He's just trying to get out, so he's like hopping in the jar and he can't get out of the little jar. that would absolutely suck. Like to be stuck there for like eternity, or until you physically die. Like, which I don't know how long it takes for Asgardians to die of natural causes. Odin, it seemed like Odin just decided to go, sort of.
To the little pixie dust.
He was like thousands of years old, apparently. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Loki does tie in, particularly the final episode of Loki, where, 2012 Loki, variant Loki, and Sylvie go through Alioth. They manage to enchant the beast Alioth, who's in the void, and then they find the house at the end of time, more or less. And you can see like a visual manifestation of the sacred timeline kind of surrounding the house, and they go inside and eventually meet He Who Remains, and they're surprised to find out that he's just human.
And in the comics, Alioth is a time monster that Ravonna, the wife of Kang, has to summon the Avengers out of their timeline to help her defeat the creature. So this is just a random nugget I got.
Nice. Yeah, Will's our resident researcher, so he was doing some research
This
today.
time.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of something else. Oh yeah, something very significant that definitely ties in to the Ant-Man storyline is like obviously the climax of Loki, like with Loki and Sylvie are faced with a choice. They're given a choice by He Who Remains to either rule the TVA together and continue his work in protecting the sacred timeline, or I think it basically gives them the two options, like, or kill him, and if he's killed, then chaos will ensue, and all the other Kangs, he's implying that he's the one holding back all the other Kangs, and then he said there will basically be chaos and most likely another multiversal war, which I think you may have referenced that in our instant review. I'm trying to remember. Definitely one of our conversations with each other, like you talked about the next Avengers movie has already been announced, and it's going to be
Avengers Kang Dynasty, and then after that Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah, so the Secret Wars must be the Kroll-Skree Wars, I'm guessing.
No. That from the comics, that would be the Beyonder. You remember the Beyonder from the He was I think he was a big part of the Spider-Man animated series. If you watch that, do you remember the episodes where Spider-Man is taken to this alien planet and then he gets to choose heroes from anywhere in the timeline? So he chooses Captain America and the Fantastic Four, and likewise there's a villain that gets to choose villains from anywhere in the timeline, and they all fight.
I don't think I got that far.
The Beyonder, it's like a game of chess. That the Beyonder is some sort of divine being that wants to know who's stronger, good or evil. So I don't know how the MCU will portray this and whether or not Beyonder will be a part of Secret Wars, but Beyonder is a part of the Secret Wars from the 80s, if I'm correct, if I'm remembering this correctly. I didn't read every single comic, but from what I've read and heard, I think that's...
Well, if they're invoking the actual title, then I'm sure they're going to tie it in, but put their own spin on it, obviously. But so the next one... So it seems obvious to me that some of the King Wars, which obviously at the end of Ant-Man, Quantumania, you see where Kang the Conqueror is potentially dead, killed by potentially. It's just left as an open question to some degree, but he appears to die / be killed by Ant-Man and the Wasp there towards the end, and then at the very least the other Kangs believe him to be dead. So now they're planning to just... I don't know what exactly they're planning to do. Like, they plan to just start a war? They plan to invade, every... Because it seems like they're working together, which wouldn't be the same as a multiversal war.
Well...
So it's like...
I wonder what they're going to do.
From what I read on Wikipedia about all of this, it says that Kang the Conqueror got with some of his variants throughout the timeline. His past and future selves. He got Pharaoh Ramatut, which we did see at the end.
Okay. Yeah, in the final scene. Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly who the other Nathaniel Richards or Kangs we saw were, but I definitely remember seeing a Pharaoh character. So he gets Pharaoh Ramatut and maybe Immortus, which is another name for He Who Remains, apparently. Immortus is the one that works for the TVA. That's that variant.
The one that created the TVA.
In the comics, he actually works for the TVA as a kind of a good guy, kind of not a good guy. It's confusing.
So they twisted it for the MCU.
Yeah.
And he created the TVA in this instance.
But in the comics, he did not create the TVA. The TVA recruited him.
Okay. Of course, he could have also been lying about it, which probably won't know until the second season of Loki, if that were the case.
If that were the case.
That might be a twist, because they do show, like, Judge Reinhold walks through a portal, but we don't know where she's going.
Yeah.
And we do get the idea that she wants to know, she wants answers. So, yeah, maybe that's something yet to be uncovered in Loki season 2.
Well, you know those 3 lizard people that supposedly founded the TVA?
Oh yeah, well, at least the androids or the images of them.
Well, in the comics, they really did found the TVA, the 3 lizards.
Okay.
But the twist in the MCU is that the 3 lizards are just
androids
created by He Who Remains. So there's this little plot twist.
Unless he killed the original 3.
This is possible. This is possible.
Yeah, I guess.
My brain.
Now, it is interesting too, like the very end of Loki, like after Sylvie pushes 2012 Loki variant back, like New York Loki, we'll call him New York Loki, or actually, to be more precise, Endgame Loki. We'll call him Endgame Loki.
You mean?
He's the one that gets the Tesseract, in Endgame when they go back in time. And Iron Man drops the Tesseract.
Or you could call him Avengers 2012 Loki.
Either way.
Yeah.
He's the 2012 variant, whatever.
Yeah.
She pushes him through a portal back to the TVA, and then she proceeds to kill He Who Remains. And He Who Remains tells her, like, hey, you'll see me again. It says, I'll see you soon. He basically tells her, like, he will come back in some form.
Yeah.
She'll see him again, and of course he also warns about the chaos and the multiversal war, which she doesn't believe him. The other Loki does believe him. And, yeah. Of course, he warns about chaos, I guess, not necessarily a multiversal war. Because, yeah, if they're coordinating, like they showed in the final scene of Ant-Man, they call like the main 4 guys, Kangs or whatever, called the others together. So it's like, are they all going to wage war on just one of the Kangs or one of the universes, ostensibly mainstream, the MCU universe or whatever?
Well, in the comics, Kang the Conqueror allied with at least 2 other Kangs or Nathaniel Richards that he thought he could not defeat. And together they formed the Council of Kangs, and their purpose was to defeat all the other Kangs.
So maybe they're going to betray all the other Kangs that were there.
Yeah. And in the comics, Kang the Conqueror, after they do defeat all the weaker Kangs, he kills one of the other members on the Council of Kangs, one of the other 2 members, and then he pulls the Avengers out of the timeline and sicks them on the remaining Kang. I think ultimately he wins, but the Avengers stop him. It's confusing time travel stuff anyway. But then later in the comics, because you can't keep a good Kang down, you have a cajillion Kangs again, and this time they form the Cross-Time council of Kangs. They're not fighting each other anymore, I guess.
The Kang gang.
I like it. Let's go with it.
The Kang gang. You heard it here, folks.
Working on the Kang gang.
Oh, by the way, apologies if this makes a lot of sound. I'm going to check, make sure we're still recording.
I hope so.
We are. Excellent. That would suck if we had just lost like a bunch of conversation. 'Cause I feel like we're getting on a roll there.
Yes, my brain can only divulge so much information.
Yeah, we've got that.
More than
we're using
once.
my iPad and we've got it turned around so we can use the better camera. But the downside is that I can't see us. So yeah, one of these days we'll have like a really nice setup with like a 4K camera that has the little flip screen that you can turn around and see, and like overhead boom mic or something.
A little remote control.
When we're rich, because we're going to be rich someday, right?
Or a camera person.
Yeah, or we just have some dispensable income. just some dispensable income.
I remember when I used to have a dispensable income.
When was that?
That was before the pandemic.
Oh, that's true. You did have
Life
more
was
money
good.
back. You did have more money back then. That's true.
No, life was good. It was.
Anyway, sorry for the distraction there, folks. I'll probably edit this out, but if I don't, apologies. Where did we leave off? Darn it.
So the Kang gang.
Kang gang, yeah.
Working on that Kang gang.
Kang gang. Cheech and Chong and the Kang gang. No. Yeah. Two very different things.
So my train's derailed. What's your train cargo carrying?
So let's we're about halfway through the deep review here. Well, ish. Let's circle back around to Ant-Man itself, and at this point we're talking almost exclusively about Kang and He Who Remains, Loki, Sylvie. We haven't talked much about the other elements of the film. So let's see. Oh yeah, the spoiler that you were going to reveal. You want to go ahead and reveal that? You remember from the instant review, you were going to reveal something.
Mechanized organism designed only for killing.
MODOK.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about Bill Murray. I was talking about MODOK.
Yeah, or MODOK. Excuse me.
Or Modofk because of the 4 there.
For killing, yeah, Modofk. Conveniently leave the 4 out. Modofk. It's just a preposition. You can toss it out. Yes.
And I want to say that his biography on Wikipedia was a lot less confusing than Kang's.
I bet. But they did make a significant change, which is where the surprise came in, right? Like that was not MODOK's origins.
No. I did want to talk about that.
Yeah, well, let's do that. This is obviously directly related to the film, and
it's
a spoiler because you don't meet MODOK until at least halfway through the film. I don't think and then it's a pretty big surprise who he is.
I tried to avoid spoilers before a movie, so
I didn't know. I had no idea.
I mean, maybe you.
He's definitely not in the trailers, which that was on purpose, obviously.
Yeah, maybe you audience already knew MODOK was going to be in it coming in, but we didn't, and I like that we didn't. Now MODOK in the comics, he is one reason I didn't expect seeing him. Not only is he ridiculous in live action, but and I'm so glad that they actually did. They just went for it.
Yeah.
They actually went for it. They didn't try, except for the armor. But there was a reason why he had the armor face, but it flips up. Except for that, they 100% comic accurate MODOK. Not backstory, but just his design. And I'm so glad they did it. It's ridiculous, but he is not an Ant-Man villain, and that's one reason I didn't expect to see him. He's a Captain America villain, as weird as that is.
Imagine if he had showed up in 1942,
Well, he is.
Was it? Oh crap! I'm trying to remember the name of the villain in the first
first film.
Red Skull.
Red Skull, yeah. Red Skull's like, Captain America is my secret weapon. That was the very bad Hugo Weaving impression. But my secret weapon, Murdoch. No.
Murdoch. Murderock.
For some reason, I've chosen an acronym that only makes sense in English.
This is true.
My German is way off tonight. I could do a better German. It's not working tonight for some reason.
So, in the comics, MODOK is... I've been doing so much Kang research, I forgot. I don't remember his real name. It's not Darren Cross. That's
a surprise.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
Darren? They said about what with each character that season, like Darren, because it's like it's giant zoomed in head of Darren, the only recognizable feature of Darren. It's like Darren.
I think the audience was also going Darren.
And it's funny because it's like such a, it's like a, it's like it's I'm trying to think. It's like one of those names that's just like you don't think they're gonna be evil. It's like Darren, better watch out for Darren. It's like,
Yeah.
Better run. Darren is coming. Doesn't exactly strike fear into one's heart.
So I'm just looking up MODOK's biography for a quick second. George Tarleton, that's it. In the comics, his name was George Tarleton. He was a scientist working for AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't they pop up in the same Ant-Man movie? Didn't AIM pop up
in Ant-Man?
Yeah, I feel like they.
You mean the original Ant-Man or
no?
This
Like
Ant-Man?
this most recent one. For some reason, that's ringing a bell. AIM.
Advanced Idea Mechanics. If I did, I missed it. But but they are already in the MCU. They were in Iron Man 3, AIM.
Maybe that's where the bell's ringing, because I watched that not too long ago.
And they also appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which I have not watched yet.
In the comics, an AIM scientist, George Tarleton. It was George, right?
All of a sudden he gets up and starts dancing to Tom Jones. Dun, 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 dun. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Tarleton! No, sorry. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reference for those of you who are young. Or haven't seen Dancing with the Stars in the last 5 years. Either way. Continues.
This is true.
Actually, he might be alive and well in Gen Z through like memes and GIFs. Is it GIFs or GIFs? Like, I know there's controversy over whether it's GIFs or GIFs.
To be alive.
Yeah, he's actually apparently really talented dancer because he like killed it on Dancing with the Stars apparently. Like,
did you know he was a Ghostbuster once?
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the actor.
In animated?
Yeah, in animated.
Oh, okay.
He was in Extreme Ghostbusters. He played the Black Ghostbuster.
Oh well, yeah, that makes sense.
Because every team needs one black Ghostbuster
One black
for some reason.
Oh man. Oh.
We need to have a Ghostbuster team with 3 blacks and 1 white.
We gotta have shoehorned diversity. Yeah. There's just sometimes where it's obvious that white people are the ones that wrote it. They're trying to. I mean, points for trying, I guess, on some level, but yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work. I'm just like. I was watching a SNL skit about Frozen 2, and they were talking about Matthias, the Matthias character who's black, and it did strike me a little bit when I first saw it, but I didn't think too much about it. But then they really brought it out. It's like they were making a joke of like the other 2 guards, like Knudsen and Mjolnir, very Norwegian names, and then Matthias is like. It's like, why are you here, Matthias, in Norway in 1840? So yeah, not historically accurate, but then Frozen takes place in, maybe that's where they just is like, well, it's a fictional story, very fictional story that does sort of take place in a real anyway.
It's the world of Disney.
Yeah.
mermaids can be black.
Yeah. That too, because like the story of the Little Mermaid originates in Europe. Like that's where it came from. So that feels a little bit shoehorned as well. It's like I get it. Like you want representation. But I'm like, why do you need to rebrand an existing? Like just create a new amazing character who's black from the start. Like just do that. Like King T'Challa. You know, he's always been black, right? He's from Africa. Amazing character.
Let's make him Asian now.
Yeah, like tell me how that would make sense.
I'm just kidding.
It's like, and I get it. You know, we're a couple older white guys, talking about this. But yeah, like
I don't care what color the Little Mermaid is, personally.
I don't think that's the best way to do it. You know, to keep. And again, these decisions are probably being made by white people, and I know they get some props from. You know, it just. But I feel like some of the self-congratulatory stuff is coming only from other white people. It's like, oh, you're diverse, yeah. 10 points, white people.
10 points.
It's like, no, man, like
go us. We're not bigots.
Or better yet, just let black people, you know, let them tell their own stories.
Yeah.
You know, which increasingly they're getting chances to do, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, like Ryan Coogler, you know, he got to direct. I know it's not a historical story, but you know, he got to direct Black Panther.
Yeah,
did a great job. You know, and that totally made sense. You know, it's like, yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Ant-Man.
MODOK.
So George Charlton was a scientist for AIM, and he undergoes an experiment that's supposed to make him a super genius, give him psychic powers, but instead, well, it works, but his head gets really huge, and his body can't support his head anymore. So they make him a chair that flies around, and this is ridiculous for live action, but they made it work in Ant-Man 3 by having it be Darren Cross, who...
And it's in the quantum realm for another, because there's all kinds of weird stuff in the quantum realm, so it's like... Just imagine if he'd been like floating around San Francisco earlier in the film. He's like, I'm back.
Do it.
Yeah, why not?
And I want to get to that later, by the way. The possibility of him coming back. I want to talk about that.
Really? Doesn't he? I mean, he did.
Well, it was a really ridiculous death. Do you think that he just pretended to die? I hope so, because he needs to come back.
It could be.
He really needs to come back.
I don't know. Is there going to be another...
I can die happy now.
I know Ant-Man... I think they said Ant-Man will return, but... Question is he going to have another Ant-Man movie, or is it just going to be in the next Avengers movie? Which there's another question too, is like which Avengers are going to be in the next Avengers movie? Like, are you going to have like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but then like the new Hawkeye? It's like you introduce like the new young Hawkeye. It's like, is she going to be in it? Which, have you seen that series yet?
Well, yes.
Yeah. It's good. Just check it out. Francis Pugh is awesome in that, by the way.
Well, this leads us to Young Avengers, right?
Yeah, why not? Let's go there.
Well, Young Avengers is in the comics, and that is a new Captain America, a new... It's not... Is it Rhodey? No, it's not Rhodey. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Iron Man's sidekick.
Yeah, he's what, Iron Patriot?
Yeah, Iron Patriot. Iron...
Or War... He prefers War Machine.
No, Iron Patriot, is that Osborn in the comics? I'm getting... He wore the... Yes.
That I don't know. I haven't read enough Iron Man comics. So.
I think that was Dark Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're getting off topic again. At least it's still Marvel.
Back to Ant-Man. Bill Murray dies.
Bill Murray dies. Or does he?
Or does he? That's true. They didn't show the death. What was his character's name again? Do you remember? I'm trying to remember what his character's name was. I know they say it multiple times, and my brain is at a loss now.
I don't remember.
He's like human.
But he was very Bill Murray.
He's human in the ways that count. Because apparently he and...
Do you think he ad-libbed his own lines like he does for all of his other movies?
That would explain why Michelle Pfeiffer was like giving him the stank eye. Okay, that was the... Because she's just like, really? if he did, that's pretty. It's just like that might not have even been in the script, and he's just like, yes, I was. It's like, wait, but are you human? It's like, nah, in the ways that count. Knowing look. If it was, then they obviously they had to write the later scene in where she.
Needs.
Yeah, both the Pims are talking about times they hooked up with someone in the 30-year interim period, and their daughter's like, "Oh my God!" It's like, and then she's just like, "Don't tell," it's like, "Don't tell me that." And then she's like right there.
Well, that reminds me. Hank said that he dated someone named Linda, and I'm just wondering, is it Linda Carter? No, that's Peggy Carter. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Peggy Carter. Never mind. Who's Linda Carter? Is that an actress?
Huh? Are you crossing comic worlds here into DC? Like,
probably
thinking of the actress who used to play Wonder Woman?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Never mind.
Linda something, I think.
I thought he was talking about Peggy Carter. I'm just all confused.
It's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, it was Linda. We hooked up a few times. Like, it didn't work out. And dang it, I cannot think of either. Hank. Is it Hank Pym?
Yeah, Hank Pym.
Hank Pym. I can't think of his wife's name right now. Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Janet. I should remember that too, because Michael Douglas has this really good way just of saying Janet. He's like, Janet. He gives it character. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. Yeah, she's like, anyway, he's like, because she wasn't you, babe. But yeah, the thought of her.
That's a good comeback.
What is it?
Saves her entire marriage, Hank.
When Hope asked her about why she hooked up with the Bill Murray, she's like, you hooked up with him? It's just like, he was charming at one time.
At one time.
Or he used to be charming. That's like.
I can't believe Paul Rudd wasn't like, why does he look like Bill Murray?
That would be great. Break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Deadpool shows up in the Quantumverse.
Yeah. So, people a long time ago were saying that
Quantum Realm, excuse me, not Quantumverse. Sorry.
Tom Holland was dropping Star Wars references in his first outing in Captain America: Civil War. People were saying, why doesn't Tom Holland just be like, wait, Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah. Wait, Shaft? What are you doing here? Oh, dang. What was his character's name in Jurassic Park? Dang it. Muldoon. No, that's the hunter. Dang.
I don't remember. I know who you're talking about.
Dang
it was the head of security.
Yeah, the guy who gets all that's left of him is an arm. That creeped me out as an 11-year-old, by the way, that scene. Side note.
I always wondered if he survived just without an arm.
Hey, you never know. Like, of course, then why would the Velociraptor not eat the arm? It just left, if that's all it got. Yeah, my mind's drawing a blank right now. I haven't watched Jurassic Park in a while. Yeah, I do always remember his quote, though. I mean, it's hard to forget that. It's like, hold on to your butts. Hold on to your butt, MFers.
So, have you heard of the Micronauts? I think they're called the Micronauts anyway. I think that's a Marvel book of characters that exist within the quantum realm. And I'm just wondering if we saw them as part of the Freedom Fighters in this film. And that's something I didn't have time to research, but I'm wondering about it.
Could be. Yeah, because it's like there's this whole world down there with strangely humanoid creatures. It's like, and here's a question. Like, is there oxygen down there? And like how is it the people that shrink down are able to survive? It's probably not. Yeah, this is where the science breaks down. It's like they would be so small that they wouldn't be able to breathe oxygen molecules. So like, how would they survive? But it's like the same thing of like where there's oxygen, a perfect oxygen nitrogen, mixture on Thanos' home planet. They're able to fight without mass of any kind. can't be troubled with, scientific accuracy. Yeah, it's like, why would? Yeah. But then, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm rambling.
Apparently.
Save me, Will.
Well, I'm just looking up the Micronauts.
Do they ride micro machines?
They haven't updated the Wikipedia for the newest film yet, but yes, the Quantum Realm is the home of the Micronauts.
Speaking of which, Hasbro,
Hasbro.
Paramount, why have you not made a Micro Machines movie yet? G.I. Joe, out the wazoo, no Micro Machines? What's up with that? Just saying.
Well, depending on what Hollywood puts out, you might be grateful they didn't make it.
That's probably true. It probably, I mean,
just think
not Snake Eyes. I haven't seen it yet, but the trailer did make me kind of want to see it. Not enough to go pay theater prices.
Right.
But, I might. I don't know. I only have one life, not enough time.
This is true.
See, this is where I'm getting now. Like, now that we're doing like these regular like TV movie reviews, like I used to listen to shout out for another podcast, by the way, Film Spotting. It's hosted by two Chicago film critics, and they do it for a living. They review movies for a living, and they talk regularly about the fact that they rarely have opportunities to revisit a movie once they've seen it. Especially if they, because they're always having to review something new, like every week, because that's their job. And then they also have a podcast on top of that.
I've always wondered if that just makes you hate movies.
I don't know. Like they don't seem to get there, like, because they like really get deep into the nuts and bolts of filmmaking, and they cover excuse me, they cover popular movies, but they also cover like very, I don't think obscure is the right word, but like independent films, like artistic films, things that your average moviegover had never even heard of, or filmmakers, but they talk about it with passion, and like they teach you about filmmaking as they're doing the podcast. So hey, if you like good movies and good movie reviews, go check out Film Spotting. You guys got that for free. Film Spotting.
For free.
Because I know you're listening, Film Spotting. Yeah. Shout out. Distracted myself again. Alright, let's see.
We talked about Kang, we talked about MODOK, we talked about Micronauts.
We haven't talked about Ant-Man's daughter.
Right.
Dang it.
What about
my brain is like, what?
Well, I know they
He calls her Peanut, but I can't think of her first name right now.
I don't remember
My
either.
brain is, yeah.
I think she's supposed to be part of the Young Avengers. That's right. I started talking about the Young Avengers earlier.
She become like the new, or Ant-Woman, I guess.
She wasn't given a superhero name in this film.
No, not in this one. But yeah, she doesn't have wings, so it's basically a copy of I mean, it's fitted for her. Obviously, Hank made it for Bad Grandpa.
Bad Grandpa.
No, it actually ends up helping her quite a bit in the Quantum Realm.
So one of Kang's other identities is Iron Lad, and Iron Lad is a Young Avenger. He is obviously an Iron Man
descendant,
heir,
copy.
Yeah.
He's like Nightwing to Tony Stark's Iron Man or something.
Yes, something like that.
Like, yeah.
The Iron Man 2.
He is
Iron Man.
he is to Tony Stark's Iron Man as Nightwing is to Batman.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's Batman.
Then again, we've already gotten Ironheart in the Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever film. So I don't know if they're going to do Iron Lad or not, but they could. Iron Lad is Kang, a young Kang. You don't remember Ironheart from Wakanda Forever?
Dang it, I'm drawing a blank right now.
I actually kind of wish they had...
I need to rewatch it.
I was looking forward to her character, but it didn't hit home for me, but that's okay because, I haven't read the comics, so maybe they got her comic accurate and I didn't know it. But I was looking forward to that. Yeah, they gave her a Wakanda armor, but sent her back home. Basically, she's going to have to build her own armor for her next appearance.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I guess that just went right past me when I saw the movie. Sure, if I saw a picture, I'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, she was the girl, the college-age girl that the FBI or whatever was after, and she had...
Oh, yeah. The one that was like... Okay, yeah. That clicked. Yeah, and she like designed the suit. And okay. Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to get an Iron Lad since we already have that successor to the Iron Man franchise, but you never know.
I thought it was going to be Pepper Potts in the blue suit.
The daughter?
No, Pepper.
Oh, Pepper. I'm sorry.
She shows up in the blue suit at the end of Endgame. No, I doubt she would ever put it back on. It's like,
that's Gwyneth Paltrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even remember what MCU movie she's actually been in.
She's like, wait, was that the one with Taika Waititi? Wait, no,
I've
never been in a
Taika
Spider-Man
film.
Yeah, well, she's more interested in her Goop empire right now. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I just don't expect her to come back to the MCU.
Yeah,
that's all.
Endgame I think was a good way to end. I mean, Tony Stark is dead now, and like, so yeah, and she's been doing it long enough. She probably doesn't have much interest in coming back. But.
Yeah, I just thought you were talking about the daughter for a split second there because there were fan theories that the daughter would come back in some sort of form as a new Iron Man or Iron Girl.
I mean, that could still happen.
Yeah, but I'm glad they're doing Ironheart since that's actually a character from the comics.
Yeah. Once you started talking about her a little more, I was like, oh yeah. She was actually pretty prominent in the film, obviously. Yeah. So let's see. I think we're going on pretty long enough with our deep dive.
Could always get deeper.
Deeper and deeper into the quantum realm. So, I guess since we're right about the end of the episode, we'll talk about what we're going to be talking about next week. So, next week's episode, we're going to be reviewing the first 2 episodes of season 3 of Picard.
That's right.
And with special guests Lars DeSenza and Casey of at Holodeck 4. So, yeah, check out Lars DeSenza. He's at Photographer on Instagram. He's also a co-host of the at Technicity podcast, which is on Instagram, on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify. I think it's only on Spotify right now. But then at Holodeck 4, she posts Star Trek memes like at least 10 a day, maybe 12 a day. Yeah, she's like constantly reposting Star Trek memes and humorous Star Trek memes. So if you love good Star Trek memes, check out her stuff on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube now as well. But anyway, they're going to be our guests next week, and we'll be reviewing those first 2 episodes. Which reminds me, I think. Yeah, we got to figure out when we're gonna watch them. Like, yeah. So anyway, nerds, any final thoughts, Mr. Irreverent Nerd, Mr. Boyer?
Well, here's to Campaign MODOK 2024.
Resurrect MODOK. Or
Resurrect
MODOK ain't dead. Yeah.
He has to come back. I don't care.
MODOK Returns, directed by Tim Burton. Well, they brought 89 Batman back. Well, by the way, totally different topic, but a nerd topic nonetheless. Did you see the trailer for the new Flash movie?
I saw one of them. I'm not sure. I think there's one out there I haven't seen yet. But I've read some articles dissecting all the bat suits that we saw in it, and
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a picture of...
it does seem like Christian Bale's Batman shows up at one point, or at least his motorcycle seems to show up.
Yeah, exactly what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I haven't seen that trailer yet, but I definitely am aware of it.
I'd be surprised if Christian Bale actually shows up. So I wonder if it's like just him riding the Batcycle at some point. But you never know. You never know. If you give him enough money, maybe he'll come back. I think he has said in the past he wouldn't come back unless Christopher Nolan was directing. But once again,
you can always have some sort of stunt double and just wearing the suit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If it's like just him like driving through Gotham or something. Yeah, because studios will do that too. They'll like tease you and be like, oh, "Is Christian Bale going to be in this?" I was like, "No," but Batfleck obviously is in it, and because he's in the trailer, at least the trailer I saw, he shows up.
Yeah.
So he's in it.
Really? Oh, he is. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then of course Michael Keaton, is in it as Batman. Just suspect he'll be. I mean, he's older, better actor now. I think in many ways. Question is, will he be Bruce Wayne at all in it, or will it be Batman the whole time?
Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
That's a good question. What is the... I guess it depends on the runtime of this film, depending on even if they have time for that.
By the way, the DC animated film, The Flashpoint Paradox, is excellent. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. Jury's out on whether this one will be. The trailer didn't get me very excited, to be honest with you.
Really?
But part of that, the trailer wasn't done particularly well, in my opinion. But obviously, part of that is just the whole controversy around the main actor, which is very unfortunate because
we're all excited about.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this.
We're just excited about Batman.
Yeah, and so it's like it kind of ruins it, and I doubt he'll be back, as Flash. So, which I'm fine with. I never really liked him as Flash anyway.
No, I didn't either.
What they should have done, I wonder if he'll pop up, and that would be cool.
Grant Gustin?
No, they should have asked Michael Rosenbaum to come be Flash. That would have been great. Because dude, like, I think he's right at 50 or 40, so he's still relatively young. He's in good shape. But he did the voice of him in the Justice League and most of the DC movies, and he was great, like in the animated series voice. It's like, but I think he could have pulled off the live action Flash as well.
He actually didn't play Barry Allen though. He played brain part. He played Kid Flash. What's his secret identity? In the comics, Kid Flash becomes Flash after Barry Allen dies or disappears into the Speed Force.
Oh, so
Wally West. That's it, Wally West.
Oh, so he wasn't Barry Allen Flash in the Justice League?
Not in the animated series. He was Wally West. They just skipped to Wally West for some reason and didn't even use Barry Allen. Just like how they didn't use Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, they used
John.
Yeah, John Stewart.
John Stewart. Yeah.
But
not
no,
that John Stewart.
No, I mean I love that Flash though.
Yeah, I thought he was great, and I think he would have done a good job as Flash, live action Flash too. He's got that. He's like that as a person too. Like he's got that sense of humor, which he didn't get to show very often as Lex Luthor in Smallville.
Oh,
is
that him?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh,
but
cool.
he actually has hair in real life.
Cool.
Yeah, and he has a what's it called? He has a podcast. Just look up Michael Rosenbaum, and his podcast will probably come up. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now, but yeah, I recommend it. He hasn't actually. I think we've plugged it before because he had a really good interview with Kevin Conroy. So back when we did our episode on Kevin Conroy, so go back and listen to that episode of ours so you can find out the name of Michael Rosenbaum's podcast. Don't Google it. Go back and listen to our episode, so you can find out. But no, yeah, excellent interview there. Yeah, I cannot think of the name of his podcast right now, but it's enjoyable. And he's just very candid, very down to earth guy, and yeah, it's a cool podcast. I can't think of the name of it right now. Dang it!
Dang it!
It's too late at night. It's too late at night. All right, let's wrap this up, nerds. It's been a pleasure.
Fellow nerds.
Sayonara. Live long and prosper. And what's some other good advice? Stay away from Bill Murray. No.
Sonic said,
don't let Bill Murray near your wives. No. Human in all the ways that count.
Like,
I'm just gonna keep
sayonara.
I'm just gonna keep looking at the camera again. Like, all right. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Irreverent Nerds podcast. And thank you once again to myself and Will for hosting. No guest this week, but we had a good time. And this is classic Will and Richard. You know, these are things we have done for years. We have gone to watch superhero movies. It's one of the reasons why this podcast started. He's like, this is something we have done for a long time, going all the way back to 2005. The very first superhero movie we watched together was Batman Begins, and we just talk about it afterwards. So we've turned that into a podcast, and we're still having fun, still enjoying it. So thank you once again for coming on that journey with us. If while you're waiting for next week's episode, which, as we said, we will be reviewing the first 2 episodes of Picard Season 3, so keep an ear out for that. But while you're waiting, get in touch with us. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Let us know what you thought of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Give us your review. Yes, we will include it in next week's episode. I know we said we would include it in this week's, but we will also include it if you send it after the fact. We will still include it in next week's episode. You know, just send us your review. Let us know what you thought. Follow us on Instagram. We are at irreverent_nerds, plural. We are also on Facebook, simply The Irreverent Nerds. That's our fan page there. And look us up on YouTube as well, The Irreverent Nerds. So, yeah, subscribe, follow, like, all those good things. Wherever you hear us, wherever you see us, you can DM us on Facebook or Instagrams, as they say. Comment on YouTube or send us a voice message. Go to anchor.fm/irreverent nerd. Click on the message button to leave us that voice message, to leave us those reviews. And of course, you can also support us from that same page. Just click on the support button. You can do that through Stripe for 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month. Thank you so much once again for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you. Nerds, stay tuned. We will be back next week with Picard Season 3. Live long and prosper, my friend.